Thanks for rejoining us. My name is Marilyn Innerfeld, and I am the author of Healing Through Love.
And my name's Chris Lennick, and I'm the author of The Simple Truth About God.
And we're the Soul Sisters.
And that we really appreciate you coming back to join us again to learn about self-love, the greatest force of healing and creation on earth.
So last time when we finished our little segment, we talked about how we pay more attention to pain than we do to love, than we do to joy, than we do to all those things that we really end up taking for granted, but we really notice the things that create pain and illness and all of that.
It's not only that we notice the things that create pain, it's that we actually embrace the pain as a way to get attention to ourselves. It's really odd, but maybe the simplest way to explain it is if you think about how often people will share stories with you about their pain, or how often you feel like what might be interesting to other people is the trauma, the tragedy, how difficult something is in your life or your family members or someone you know.
So what we'd like to do today is really share with you how to pay more attention to the positives of your world rather than focus on the negatives. And the magic of all of that is that the more you focus on what is good and joyful and loving, the more you will actually bring that into your experience, because that's the way it works.
It's not only that you would focus on your joy, because we don't want to suggest that what you want to do is ignore sadness or pain or lack or trauma or whatever. But there's a difference between honoring it and embracing it as a way of talking about yourself. So if you think about a person you know who always has to tell you about something that's so hard or difficult or crazy or traumatic in their life, that's someone who's embracing pain as themselves. What we want to do is honor all that we are. That which is of joy, that which is of pain, that which is of love, that which is not of love, in peace and acceptance. And that means we don't make it any more than it is, and we don't ignore it either.
Well, Chris is right, because I remember many, many years ago, about 25 years ago, I had a boss who I knew he was having problems in his marriage, and it was pretty serious. And every morning I'd say, "How are you today?" And he'd say, "I'm great." And I'm sure most of us know people who, no matter what is going on in their lives, they're always going to just say, "Everything's wonderful, everything is glorious," because they believe that by saying that, A, it'll become that, but B, that's what spiritual people are supposed to feel all the time. So Chris is right, because the truth is when things aren't that way, when we honor that experience of pain, whatever it is, and release it, we learn from it. But by pushing it away, we will not learn from it. We will simply resist it. And in the resistance, it will grow.
So the key here, when Marilyn's talking about not either pushing it away, and I'm talking about not embracing it as yourself, is to be at peace that you have an experience maybe that's painful or frustrating, but don't add to it through your words, through needing to tell everybody about it, to making it bigger than it is. Just recognize, yes, right now I'm having something that feels painful. And the words I use there that were operative or important are right now, I'm having this right now. That doesn't mean I'm going to have it a week from now, a month from now, or 2 years from now, unless I embrace it as who I am, unless I spend all my time filling it with words and energy, that it's so important. Because if what you're doing all the time as you communicate with others is tell people how incredibly important, because you're spending so much time talking about it, building it up, making it bigger than it is, something is, then you embrace it as you. When you acknowledge that right now you're having an experience, but you're not going to have it 5 minutes from now, because what you're talking about is right now, and you're just like a scientist saying, right now I feel sad, right now I got some bad news, whatever it is, and then you move to the next moment and let the next moment be what it is. That's very, very different.
So what I'd like to do today, and this is applicable to this conversation, is we did get an email actually from someone, and thank you. This is from Carol in California, and she writes, "My 13-year-old daughter has been very depressed, and I don't know how to help her. Perhaps you can give us some guidance so that she can find joy in her life once again."
So, you know, depression is a powerful experience of the heart. It's almost like a separation from oneself when we get depressed. We can't find our being. We can't find that source of joy that's within us. The key to beginning to change that is actually to reconnect to the joy. So with a 13-year-old who's probably at a stage of life where actually they're beginning their spiritual journey, we all do on earth when we're 13, and they feel a little bit lost because they think all their peers know exactly where they're going and what they're doing and who they are, and they wonder why they can't. A very simple technique is to try to, in this case if it was my daughter, try to help my daughter find something that is joyful for her. Whether it's a passion, something she likes to do, music she likes to hear, and encourage her every single day, even if it's for just a couple minutes, and maybe it's a pet of hers, or whatever, to connect to the joy. Just connect to the joy. Talk about the joy. Spend a moment with it, or 10 minutes, or whatever, but reconnect her to joy, because as you connect her to any single joy, you will once again connect her with the source of her being, her love for herself, and you will honor that it's joyful for her. Even as a parent, maybe it's music you can't stand and she loves that music. Get involved with her around that music. Ask her about it or listen to it. Do whatever you need to do and reconnect her to her joy, and she will begin to find herself again.
And I have another idea along with that, is that the mom, Carol, first of all, you should be doing self-love exercises. Do them with your daughter. Sit with her before, in a quiet time, perhaps after dinner while you're doing dishes together, or sit alongside of her while she's lying in bed, and tell her that you're doing this for yourself. Tell her that you have to come up with 10 things that you love about yourself every day, and ask her to do it with you and do it in partnership. And if she can't do it, because if she feels that badly about herself, and that's okay, do it for her as her. In other words, say to her, "I love the color of your eyes. I love the curls in your hair. I love the softness of your skin." And just every day, just say a few things like that to her, with her, in her presence, and gradually watch her change. As you do it for yourself, at the same time, it would become a symbiotic change, because the connection that mother and child have is so powerful. You can actually teach her how to turn around her thoughts of pain.
So, as we've been talking with you today, and we like to give you tools,
right?
Every time we do these sessions, the very simple thing to do is really, actually, in this case, to pay attention to what you do when you have or hear news that on earth we consider painful. It could be about an illness, could be about a trauma, something like that. And just watch yourself. Listen to what your reaction is. And if you find yourself, in a sense, as I say, embracing it as you by talking about it or going to call people and embellish it, take a deep breath. And instead, stop yourself this time and go back to, in this moment, when you share with someone, this is what happened, and then move on to the next moment. And if you watch yourself, you'll just start calming down that energy of trauma and pain in your life as you begin to just honor it simply and peacefully. And you'll find more joy and more celebratory moments, because in the past you just didn't pay attention to them.
So thanks for joining us again today. We are the Soul Sisters, and we can be found on the YouTube channel at Expanded Living. And please do send us emails. Obviously, we will try to answer some questions. We can be reached at center@expandedliving.net.
Thanks for joining us.
It was good to see you. Bye.